Good afternoon, Tone of Life family. This is Dr. Dan, and we're going to talk about your body and whether or not it's more like a machine or a garden. So, when we're talking about the body, how it works, and what we should do about it, there's not one cut and dry method of thinking about or having a perspective about the body and its functioning. For instance, there is a idea called mechanism, which I would argue is a little bit of a outdated and on its way out philosophy about the body. And mechanism would go along the lines of saying that your body is like a machine, has working parts, and that we can understand those parts, and then we can know that if something breaks or goes wrong with the body, then we just need to fix those parts that broke, and then we'll move on like normal. If you're really proactive about your machine, about your mechanism, you might do some scheduled maintenance to make sure that it's working efficiently. From time to time, you'll change your oil in your car, obviously, that kind of thing. But really, you wait till it breaks before you try to fix it. And again, it assumes that you can understand the pieces and parts of the machine well enough that when it's broken, you know what to fix. That, I think, personally, is a very limited way of looking at the body, and a way in which a lot of folks who come to see us have pretty much followed that route to exhaustion and found that they are simply not living life at the level of health that they desire. And so there's another route you can take when thinking about the body, and that is oftentimes referred to as something like the holistic model or simply the natural model. And it would look at the body more like a garden rather than a machine. And so if you've ever tried to grow a garden, maybe you've noticed that you can't simply let it sit there and wait for something to go wrong before you try to fix it. So essentially you're ignoring your garden until you realize something's wrong. If you've waited until something goes wrong with your garden, you essentially you've lost a lot of time, you've lost a lot of productivity, and you've really compromised the health of your garden. Instead, what do you do with the garden? You make sure that it has proper amounts of sunlight, proper amounts of water, that the soil is right, that there's good microorganisms colonizing the soil, that the plants are properly spaced, that you have, if you're really getting into it, that you have the right plants in combination with each other to best support each other. And so there's a lot you can do with your garden to assure that you have the highest, healthiest yield and the most luscious and damage-resistant or disease-resistant plants possible. And so taking care of your garden is an active tending process where essentially you as the gardener are not actually the one growing the plant or the vegetable or the flower. You are creating a proper environment, you're tending the environment and allowing it to be in the ideal state for producing the fruit and the flower, the vegetable, or simply the ornamental plant that you desire. And the same thing is true, in my belief anyway, about the body, that to wait for something to break before you fix it is really to wait long past something has begun to go wrong. A huge portion of our body's functioning occurs beneath our conscious awareness. I've heard some people say as much as 98%, and that's a very large estimate. Even if it was 80%, that's still an enormous amount of your everyday functioning is happening below your level of awareness. So by the time something goes wrong, there's already a huge amount of issue that has been arising within you. And so the don't fix it if it ain't broke model is it's not sufficient if you're looking to live a life of fulfillment and vital health and really experiencing your own physical comfort and mental and emotional well-being to the level that you desire. Instead, we have to look at our body like it's a garden in the way that we, very same as a garden, we need the right kind of water, clean, abundant water, good sunlight, good fresh air, good microorganisms colonizing our digestive tract and our sinuses, and of course, so pretty much in that way we're the same as a garden, as a plant in a garden. And beyond that, we need to make sure that we have a healthy physiological environment, that our pieces and parts are working in tandem with each other, and we can do that actively through exercise, through getting yourself adjusted, through taking care of your nervous system, getting massage, doing yoga, so on and so forth. We can take care of our emotional environment by taking care of our relationships, tending to our own inner work, our own inner doubts and shadows and the things that are going wrong in our relationship life or our emotional life. and also cultivating the positive emotions that go along with life. And then our mental state as well, right? Because you have thought patterns that you've noticed, I'm sure, that when you're stuck with negative thought patterns, it kind of dampens your outlook on life, and it can even affect your physical health. And that's really what it comes down to, is that when all these things in our life are woven together, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of ourselves, it all impacts our physical body. And if we don't tend that body like a garden, then we're not setting ourselves up for the ideal life. On the contrary, if you do take care of your body, your physical, your emotional, your mental self on a regular basis, tending it as if it's your job simply to create the right environment for a thriving, healthy life, then you're going to experience more of that, more of what you want, more creativity, productivity, presence, fulfillment. And the way to start with that in our book is with what's going on inside of your body. Your nervous system is numero uno, number one of importance. It's the system that connects every single aspect of your body together in one coherent system. And by making sure that you have a properly functioning nervous system, you are setting up that garden of your own body and your own life to grow the healthiest experience possible. And so take that in, think about it, and identify where in your life you can take some steps to tend your own personal garden to a little bit more of a holistic state of being, rather than waiting for something to break before you fix it. Take care.